Welcome to episode 3 of Is It Worth the Macros? And today we're going to be reviewing Built Bars. So Built Bars was kind enough to send us a bunch of samples. There were a lot more than this, and if that's any hint of where this review is going, let it be a hint. Since we're rating a protein bar, we are going to be doing it on a little bit of a curve, just to be fair. So Built Bars are interesting. They're one of those protein bars that has a high amount of fiber content, which can be very useful if you're on the go a lot and you don't necessarily have time to run to the grocery store all the time and get the volume of produce that you would need to get the right amount of fiber for your needs every day. So Built Bars are interesting, and I'm not going to lie, I've already had a few of these because they sent us several flavors. And one of the first things that I noticed with their coconut flavored one was that the dark chocolate on the outside of this coconut was the first time I've ever had a protein bar that had the proper consistency, taste, and texture of actual dark chocolate. And that combined with the coconut, almost a nougat on the inside, was absolutely phenomenal. It was very well done the way that they did the coconut cream one. But what I'm going to do is review a flavor that's a lot more standard, just so you can compare it to other protein bars that you'd find the same. So we are going to take the chocolate vanilla one. So my guess is that or vanilla chocolate cream. My guess is that we're gonna have vanilla interior and chocolate exterior. So here it is up close. We're gonna go ahead and unwrap it. It's got 110 calories, by the way, 15 grams of protein, so 4 grams of fat, 13 grams of carbohydrates, 6 grams of dietary fiber. So not too bad. So let's go ahead and give it an open. Here's the bar. I mean, anytime you have a protein bar that you're showing to the world, it kind of looks like Mr. Hanky.
Mr. Hanky? Howdy ho!
But, it's protein. Smells pretty good. Definitely has a milk chocolate smell to it. Let's go ahead and take a bite and see what we're working with. This is very chewy. Very chewy. Very, very chewy. I don't want to choke, so I gotta keep chewing. All right, good. So, one of the first things that you're gonna notice about this protein bar, it's the kind of protein bar that you will probably be eating on for a while because it is very, very chewy. The inside filling of the protein bar has a consistency unlike any other protein bar I've ever had. You have a lot of things that you call your brick bars, and that could be things like Quest or Kirkland bars that you get from Costco. They're very hard when you bite into them, and it's a different way of chewing on something for a while. But the interior of this reminds me a lot of a thicker version of what you would get on the inside of a cordial cherry. And a big part of that might be because of the fiber sol that's in it, and also likely the gelatin that's in there that gives it that very thick consistency to it. Now the taste, the interior of it, so the vanilla part of this vanilla chocolate cream had almost like a caramelized creme brulee type aftertaste. Not overpowering on the vanilla, which I was kind of surprised, but it really did almost have that toasted sugar effect to it. So pretty good. Once again, it looks like Built Bars did a great job with the chocolate flavoring on the outside. So just like the dark chocolate in that coconut cream one, the vanilla cream seems to have a milk chocolate on the outside of it, and that tasted spot on. Tasted like the milk chocolate you expect in a Hershey bar. So overall, the taste on this is awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and start diving into our rating system. And first of all, I wanna introduce a guest. So we have Katie Coles, one of the co-founders of Avatar, who's a registered dietitian, and she will lead us off by talking a little bit more about the label, and we'll determine the rating that we give on the label.
Yeah, all right. So talking a little bit more about the label. First, I just wanna say that it's really hard to make a good protein bar. Ready-to-drink shakes are really hard to make, and protein bars are hard to make. And that's because it's hard to combine ingredients into a form that are very stable, right? And also have a good mouthfeel and texture. And I think Built Bar did a really great job of this. If there's one thing that I really liked about it, it was that it had like an interesting kind of mouthfeel to it. It wasn't like one of those protein bars that's kind of like a sandy brick, like where you end up chewing and chewing and chewing on it just to have it taste like cardboard. This, like Mark was saying, it had a really interesting texture. And I think that's partly because of the ingredients that were used. So if you look at the label, one thing you'll notice is that there aren't a whole lot of ingredients in there. Now, not to say that having more ingredients is bad. I know that a lot of people think that the fewer the ingredients, the more clean, the more healthy it is. That's not really the way it works. And it's not really the way it works, like where that if you can pronounce it, it's healthy. You know, a lot of vitamins have super long names, so that's kind of irrelevant. But there are very few ingredients to look at, and what I was impressed with was the ingredients that they did choose were really, really good. So obviously the first thing they put in there, they have the whey protein. 15 grams of protein. It's all from whey, an isolated whey. Some of it's hydrolyzed, which it doesn't matter as much, but just the fact that it's whey is pretty cool because that's a more expensive form of protein, and it's also very good for eliciting muscle growth. You know, it has the right kind of amino acids that are really going to trigger those growth pathways. Now, I know they veered away from using soy, not as great for that. Also didn't use egg protein, and there's a reason for that. That's less stable in bar formulations, and it tends to not have the right kind of texture. So did a great job in choosing that. They also have maltodextrin in there. You see that on the label. A lot of people aren't going to know what this is, but it's really a soluble corn fiber, and this one is special. As Mark mentioned, it's called Fibersol. So this is a product that they made from that maltodextrin. It's a certain way that they have like the ends formulated of that so that it's more resistant to digestion maybe than the average fiber would be. Now, this product is used by a lot of companies in other products for baking, in bars, because it has a lot of good qualities with it. So this Fibersol, it is colorless, it's odorless, but yet it adds bulk to the protein bar. And that's really important. And it doesn't carry the same load of calories that like you would get with adding bulk from another type of carbohydrate like sugar. So it's a really great option that companies are using. But one thing to note here is that you see on the label net carbs, okay? And this is a marketing tactic where you subtract out the fiber from the total carbs, and it makes it look like it has fewer carbs and fewer total calories. Now, on their website, they say that this form of resistant carbohydrate is completely resistant to digestion, that this fiber isn't going to get broken down by gut microbes, and it can't be broken down by human enzymes, so you don't get any of the calories. Well, when I did look up Fibersol on their website, they had a lot of different types of Fibersol, different variations of that product, but all of them did contain calories, albeit they only had about 1.6 calories per gram of fiber. So it's a lot less than what you would get from a normal carbohydrate, but there are still calories in there. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Now, on the one hand, it's a good thing in that you're providing your gut bacteria prebiotics or some kind of food to eat because these are going to have beneficial health qualities. But on the other hand, these are calories that, of course, you're going to absorb some of them. So I don't think it's fair necessarily to say that these have 0 calories and to go ahead and do the net carb thing. I would be on the safe side and go ahead and count those carbs because, you know, there's a chance that Fibersol did create a new product that you're not going to get those. But from what I can see on the website, it does look like there's about 1.6 calories per gram. A couple of the other ingredients that are in there, you have their erythritol, which is great because it's almost calorie-free. There's like 0.2 calories in a gram. It's about 70 to 80% the sweetness of sugar, so that's why that's in there, is to provide some of that sweetness. It's also got glycerin, which is going to help the bar stay moist. That is such a challenge when it comes to creating a bar, is keeping the moisture, keeping the shelf life, and keeping it from crystallizing. You don't want these weird things to happen to the texture of the bar, and you see that a lot in other bars. So I think that they did a really great job of choosing the ingredients in there, combining it, making a bar that, you know, I felt was really good.
Oh, I'm back. All right. Thank you, Katie, for that little explanation.
You scared
So-
me, Mark.
I just popped up. But anyway, we're going to start going to our official rating for this. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the label. So for the label, moment of truth. We're going to give it a check with a tiny little asterisk up there, because industry standard is putting net carbs on everything. We're not fans of that. But if you look at protein bars, pretty much every single one that has any kind of fiber in it does it. So it's just industry standard. We always recommend that people track total carbs just to be safe.
But you know, in general, like I was saying, I think that the label is pretty good. The ingredients they chose were great. There's not a whole lot in there. So hats off to them for creating something that, you know, that's really easy to market and that is actually pretty good.
All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and dive into the taste part of this score. And one of the interesting things that you have to do here is separate taste from texture. This bar has a very unique texture that I've never experienced, and it also has taste, right? Different things, different textures have different taste, but some people are gonna love this texture, some people are gonna hate it, and probably a smaller amount of people are gonna be lukewarm. But there does seem to be some pretty strong opinions about one way or the other on the texture based off of everybody in the office giving these bars a try. So Katie, what did you think about the taste and texture?
Okay, so I'm kind of unique in that I have celiac disease, which means I am extremely limited in what I can eat. I can't have gluten, so I'm used to things tasting like cardboard. And in this case, I thought the flavor was really, really good. I liked the fact that there were so many different options. I liked what they combined the chocolate with. A lot of it was like fruit type flavors, which I haven't seen before. So there was like orange cream covered in chocolate. That was awesome. But so for that, I really liked it. As far as the texture goes, again, I found it to be really great. I also like Fit Crunch bars. That's different than a lot of the protein bars out there, which again, end up being really chewy and kind of dry. I'm not a big fan of that texture. And here, this is the first time I've had something that was very gelatin-like. Like you mentioned earlier, it was very much like a cordial cherry, except for the filling was a little bit more gel-like and less runny than that. And
much more gel-like.
Yeah, much more gel-like.
Which
could be a good thing if it takes you a while to eat it because it's a little bit more on like the chewy side.
You can enjoy the flavor longer.
Exactly, and you might, you know, feel a little bit more full and satisfied. So in general, I actually really liked it.
So give it a number. You gotta give it a number, 1 to 10.
1 to 10? It depends on the flavor. The first flavor I had, it was like a 9. The second one was like a 7. So, and that's probably going to be the same with you guys, as you're going to find something you really like and others you're not as crazy about.
So I'll hop in here and compare the standard flavor of what I experienced with this vanilla chocolate combo to other vanilla chocolate combos that I've had. And it stands out purely from the flavor standpoint because, like I was saying, it's hard to nail that toasted sugar that you get with the vanilla, and it's almost like a vanilla creme brulee, and that was really good. Abnormally good, if I really want to be honest on this. And I'm not going to throw in the texture into the flavor category. The obvious plus side is you get to enjoy the flavor a lot longer if you're chewing on something longer. To me, that's a plus. This is a great protein bar for people who are on a diet because you're going to feel a lot more full consuming something and eating it for a while. So really, combined flavor scores, like that kind of texture opens up a lot more flavor combinations that you can use. I'm going to give this a 9. This is a really good flavor for a protein bar. My goal is to only give things like crawfish etouffee 10s. Hard to get a 10 on this review show. So the big question right here, is it worth the macros? 110 calories, you can eat on it for a while. In my opinion, it's got really good flavor. The texture of it and consistency could go one way or another, but I think this is a definitive yes.
I agree.
For is it worth the macros? And Katie agrees. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this special episode with guest co-founder of Avatar Nutrition, Katie Coles, and we will see you for the next review.